Hi guys, welcome to the Redhead Crafter. My name is Ashley and thank you for stopping by. Today I have some DIYs for you that are technically very late, but I almost didn't upload the video, but I did work very hard on it, and you can use this in other ways to maybe personalize a project. So I hope you guys like today's DIYs, and let's get into crafting. This first project, we will take these ironing boards and remove everything off of them, the stickers, jute, everything. Then turn that sign around and use the straight edge as a guide, so you can squirt a couple times and then that pops right off. Then turn it around. Oh, use the scissors first and straighten that edge up, turn it around. And then do the same thing to the other side. We're just cutting them and making them straight. After you score these, they just pop right off. It's pretty easy. I sanded it, but I didn't record it, sorry. Then I added these craft sticks so the sign can become one. Once I had all those craft sticks glued on, I attached it to the stand by using another craft stick and sandwiching the stand in between those two craft sticks. That was not strong enough, so I used a piece of scrap ribbon, and you can see what I'm doing. After that was done, I took and glued a piece of craft paper to cover the ugliness of the back of that sign. Once you have your paper glued on, cut any excess off and flip your sign over. And I used the white by Waverly chalk paint, and I done a couple of coats, like probably 2.5 coats of that. Just make sure you get the whole sign, the sides, everything. That sign is dry. Go ahead and glue on your letters. I got these letters from a little plaque you'll see later on in the video, but I lost the footage of me taking those letters off. They just pull right up. Just and then you want to glue another one of those clothespins down. And I outlined the sign using a makeup brush or a makeup sponge and the ink by Waverly chalk paint. After that, I distressed those letters using the white by Waverly, just a very dry brush. Then this is how it turned out, but I did add some stuff to it later, and I'll show you. The next project, we're going to use this basket and a couple of wood rounds from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, wherever that comes from, I forget. A wooden dowel or a spindle, if you have one. And I got this little Lazy Susan from the Target dollar spot. This was covered in felt, but I had to take it off to get to that nail, so I covered it in craft paper. First, take some hot glue and glue your two wood rounds together, and then clamp them down to help you get an even hold on them. Remove the clamps, and here I'm showing you I got two different sets of brushes for this chalk paint, and I'm going to be testing them out throughout the next couple of videos, and I'll let you know what I think. Anyways, I used ink by Waverly to give this a nice coat of paint, making sure to get the sides, and I just painted everything, top and bottom. Then set that aside and paint your Lazy Susan. I started out with just the antique Waverly wax, but I did end up adding a little black into it because it wasn't dark enough. And then I gave it this real rich dark color that better matched the dark black basket and wood round. Do you guys notice I'm fighting with this craft paper the whole time? Finally, I get smart and put something on it, but my gosh, it was driving me crazy. Anyways, I get a nice even coat on everything, the sides, everything that shows, and then start wiping it off. And it is just really, I haven't tried this technique. I got it from Crafting with Maria, I think, and I really liked how it turned out. Anyways, I used a paper towel and a baby wipe. The next step, we're going to staple your basket to that wood round. Just a couple staples on either side worked. Then give everything a nice pilot hole right through the center. Do your dowel or your spindle, whichever one you use. I used both because the spindle did not work for me. It didn't give enough support for the top basket, and it was like wobbly, so I had to switch over to the dowel. Next, take that screw out of the bottom of your Lazy Susan, and then we're going to screw everything in, and I could not get it all on camera, but I'm showing you the screws I ended up using because I started out with these screws and they did not give enough support, so I did go with the larger screws. Everything turned out sturdy, and let me know in the comments what you think. Next, we use these pill and stick letters, and we're just using the outline of them, adding some transfer tape down, and you can see how I'm doing it. Then add that transfer tape to your letter, varnish it down, peel back the transfer tape, then add it back to its backing. Next, we're going to take ink by Waverly and a makeup sponge and just dab that paint onto your domino piece. Now, if you don't like the distressed look, be sure to use some painter's tape not to get paint where you don't want it. Next, just dry it and then add back your transfer tape, varnish it down, peel it back, and reveal your letter. Do that with both of your D's and then with your A. And you can use the same piece of transfer tape for all 3 letters. Next, just do the A the same way you've done your D. And it really does give a nice effect. Only I didn't use painter's tape and I distressed anyways. I distressed that block as well. Then I used some Jenga blocks, hot glued it to the back of my domino piece. Then once that was dry, I painted it with some ink by Waverly. Once this was dry, I used some hot glue to glue them down into my plaque, making one of the Scrabble board plaques. The next project we will be making is a little container planter. I just took a domino piece and scored it a couple times, popping those tops right off. Some scissors, cleaned up those edges nicely, and then I sanded them down. Once that was done, I did take some Jenga pieces and glue 2 of them together, then glued those onto my container, making some cute little feet. Next, we'll work on our risers. I'm going to glue a 20 mil bead and an 18 mil bead together. Do that 4 times. Then once they are dry, you're going to glue each one of those in each 4 corners. I did make another riser that just had a 20 mil bead glued in each of the corners, and you'll see that too. Next, just use some Waverly white, and now I'm going to use that Waverly brush, and I can tell you now that I do not like it as well as I like the off-brand. This started shedding just like a couple strokes into painting those risers. Now we're just painting everything, tops, bottoms, feet, of everything that we just made white. Then we're going to take that container and glue a wooden S down onto one side. And then I decided to make the other side say loved. S is our monogram, Smith. And I got that loved from Hobby Lobby as well in a little pack that had wooden words. Next, go ahead and give it a nice coat of Waverly, and I used a little detailed brush to get in the nooks and crannies of both of those wooden pieces. And next I took this candle that I found at the Dollar Tree and I gave it a coat. It had a lid. I took the lid off, gave it a nice coat of white from Waverly Truck Paint, and then I glued jute around the top. Oh wait, first we distress everything to match our plaques that we made. So we're distressing everything in ink. Ink from Waverly, guys. Just distress everything. If you don't like distressing, leave it white, but I wanted everything to match. And I didn't want it to be too girly either. Like, I wanted it to be things that he could put in his workspace. I just took a lighter and got off all the frayed pieces of that jute, added a piece of styrofoam into the container, and then added some florals. Next, I took those rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, cut some down, and put them where I thought they looked nice. And I really loved how this turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I turned that over and done the transfers there, and then added this to the short riser. And here's how it turned out.